Hello students, warm welcome to you all. Myself Karan Kumar going to teach you the circulatory system of human beings today. So you see, digested food, water, minerals and many more substances have to be transported from one part of the body to another part. For example, you see, the oxygen that we inhale, that we are inhaling just now, has to be transported from the lungs to different cells and tissues of the body. The food that we have ate just before gets digested and also have to be transported to various tissues of the body. All this transportation of various substances occurs with the help of the circulatory system of the human body. So, what is this circulatory system? The circulatory system is an organ system. It is a mechanism through which various components such as digested food, oxygen, water, minerals, etc. and many more substances are transported from one part of the body to another part. And this occurs through the help of body fluids. These body fluids can be blood or can be lymph. And inside the blood, there are two components. They are plasma and formed elements, or also known as blood corpuscles. So what is this blood? Blood is a fluid connective tissue. Why is it called so? Because blood is fluid in nature, it flows, so the term fluid, and it has arise from the mesoderm tissue. The mesoderm germ layer present inside the embryonic stage. So the term fluid connective tissue, it also connects various parts of the body with one another. Now let us see this circulation of blood or the transportation of blood. How does it occurs? It occurs through the help of a pumping system. That pumping system is known as the heart. So what is heart? Heart is a muscular organ. Heart is a muscular organ which pumps blood to different parts of the body. In this diagram, I have illustrated you a typical representation of the human heart. The human heart, which is just the size of our wrist, has arisen from the mesoderm tissue. Now let us understand how does this circulation of blood takes place inside the human being. So you see, these are the body tissues. The body tissues by respiration produces out carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide enters the blood capillaries. These blood capillaries present inside the tissues assemble together to form a large blood vessel known as the vein. Now the carbon dioxide, after entering the blood, it forms deoxygenated blood. The blood is said to be deoxygenated blood now because the oxygen has been removed, the oxygen has been consumed by the tissues, utilized by the tissues, and the carbon dioxide has been entered into the blood. So now the blood becomes deoxygenated. Now this deoxygenated blood is brought to the heart by the vein, which enters the heart through the help of two vena cava. From the right atrium of the heart, as we know, there are four chambers of the heart: right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Now from the right atrium of the heart, the deoxygenated blood enters the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. It is called tricuspid since it is made up of three muscular flaps. So the term tricuspid. Now when the heart contracts, the blood from the right ventricle enters into a blood vessel called as the pulmonary artery. Through the pulmonary artery, the deoxygenated blood enters the lungs where it gets oxygenated. Oxygenation means removal of carbon dioxide and the entry of oxygen into the blood. After oxygenation, now the blood becomes oxygenated. This oxygenated blood enters another blood vessel called as the pulmonary vein. This pulmonary vein brings oxygenated blood into the left atrium of the heart. From the left atrium, it enters the left ventricle. When the left ventricle contracts again, the oxygenated blood is pushed out through another blood vessel called as the aorta. This aorta gets divided into two branches, which further gets divided into many smaller branches called as the arteries. So these are the arteries. Here also we can see this aorta, this branch of aorta gets divided into many arteries. Now these arteries brings oxygenated blood from the left ventricle of the heart into the tissues. So this oxygenated blood comes into the tissues from where comes into the tissue with the blood from where it enters the tissue. So in this way, a complete circulation of blood takes place. Now if we see this circulatory mechanism with the help of a typical diagrammatic representation, here let us assume it as the heart. This is the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. From the tissues, the deoxygenated blood enters the right ventricle through the help of the vein, just as shown here. From the right atrium, it enters the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle, it enters again into the lungs for oxygenation through the help of pulmonary artery. From the lungs again, after the blood has been oxygenated, it enters the left atrium through the help of another blood vessel called as pulmonary vein, just as shown here. From the left atrium again into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle again through the aorta and the arteries, it enters the tissues. So in a complete circulation of blood, as we can see here, there involves two sub-circulations. They are the circulation of blood taking in place between the heart and the tissues, which is termed as systemic circulation, and the circulation of blood taking in place between the heart and the lungs called as pulmonary circulation. So dear students, in a complete circulation of blood, there involves two sub-circulations, one pulmonary and another the systemic. So the circulation of blood in human beings can be called as double circulation, which occurs not only inside the human beings but also inside birds and most of the mammals, which possess four-chamber heart. Now there are many significances of this double circulation, which we are going to discuss it in further classes. Stay connected, dear students. Follow COVID protocols. Stay safe in your home. Thank you so much. 8 minutes.